and it'd be awesome if you liked and shared and subscribed. It really does help me out a lot. So, I want to briefly discuss the politics of the federal election, the presidential election coming up in 2024. One interesting thing is Donald Trump declared his candidacy right away as soon as he could, and he has been riding the election interference, drum ever since he declared. He was the first GOP candidate to declare, but now that crowd has been filled with Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy and Asa Hutchinson and Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis and am I missing anybody? I know it's just a lot of people. And Ron DeSantis, I believe, Mike Pence. Ron DeSantis, I believe, is disqualified because he said he would consider pardoning insurrectionists. I believe that Mike Pence is unworthy of federal office, of elected office, because he said that Congress didn't have a right to his testimony, and he didn't cooperate with Jack Smith and had to be compelled, and he took the case to court, and he was compelled by Chief Judge Boasberg, who wrote an opinion explaining why, despite having some speech or debate clause protections, former Vice President Pence still had to testify. So he's disqualified. Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, they don't want to take on Donald Trump, and neither does Ron DeSantis, neither does Mike Pence. These are the far right candidates, other than Donald Trump. They don't want to they don't want to attack Donald Trump's record. They don't want to knock on that cage and risk that electorate from voting for them, because their policies are very Trumpian, but their rhetoric is not. I believe that Chris Christie and Asa Hutchinson are candidates who are unlikely to get the nomination, but they would chip away at Donald Trump's favorability. Another candidate who hasn't declared in the Republican primaries, I believe, would be a good candidate to even displace and Donald Trump's core base. It would be Liz Cheney, because Liz Cheney is a lifelong Republican. I mean, come on, she's Dick Cheney's daughter, for freak's sake. So that is the field. I believe that the presumptive nominee is Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is also disqualified under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, disqualification clause. But without congressional action or without state action on the part of the state legislatures, the 14th Amendment third section doesn't really kick in. I was just reading about that before I started talking about this. And so Donald Trump will keep on staying he's going to make being criminal great again. It's just unreal. And on the Democratic side, I want to make something very clear. At this point in time, President Joe Biden is the leader of the Democratic Party. If you are unhappy with Joe Biden's performance, you can voice those differences of opinion within the party. If you, however, have placed your name in the hat for a presumptive primary, there you will primary the incumbent president of your party, then there's something wrong with your priorities, and you're not thinking about the greater picture, the bigger picture. You're thinking about your clout, and you're thinking about your publicity. And the three people that come to mind is Robert Kennedy Jr., Cornel West, and Marianne Williamson. And while a lot of things that Cornel West and Marianne Williamson say I agree with. I believe that at this time, diluting or breaking or taking away from a unified Democratic Party base, it unnecessarily weakens uh, the vote of Joe Biden, who, by all real measures, has been more liberal in his policies than even Barack Obama. And he has been more legislatively successful than any president since FDR. He has gotten so many things done. And I hope that, when after the primary seasons are over and when the general election starts for 2024, that President Biden goes around the country to show exactly in every state what his infrastructure plan and what his other laws have done. Because every state has to have a story that from all this legislation. And it would be good for President Biden to go and speak with people and to show Americans where their money is being spent.